All right, lads, welcome back to me podcast. Mick Thomas here, cheaper than therapy. Appreciate you tuning in, liking, subscribing, sharing, being part of it, being part of the old Mick Thomas train, keeping us moving. Hope you're well. Hope you're still washing yourselves, not coughing on people. I hope you're obeying the law of the land, which is basically something you should have been obeying a long time ago. Which is, it's sad that the law is wash your fucking hands. Still turning out these episodes for you. Went from 1 a week to 3 a week. So now I just keep constantly having very funny people, friends, interesting guests on. And on right now, I have all three wrapped up in one. My good buddy, very funny comedian, Mr. Dennis Rooney. All right, Dennis, how are you, mate?
Hello.
That's
How
good.
are
You
you,
know what? I
Mick?
thought you were just going to hang up on purpose.
I'll
like
tell
that,
you what. You tell me
like
at the
that dick
beginning.
would do it.
At the beginning, you say go. You say go quiet now for a second to leave a moment for editing purposes, and it was so hard not to just be like.
Yeah.
As a comic, you're told like to shut up for a second, and you're like, but that makes it funnier if I'm supposed to be quiet.
That's something funny too, like about like I listen to someone like let me see, like Joe Rogan, right? And he'll be interviewing somebody, and like someone serious, totally serious from start to finish. It could be a doctor or a scientist, not a comic or anything like that. Someone talking about horrific times, and I'll see so many opportunities to bust out with a joke. But it's like I'm like,
Yep.
that's why he does what he does, because he's not a fucking immature asshole.
He's got a handier lever than we do. And I also want to point this out. Joe Rogan just had on Elon Musk, and I love how you swinging the bat back at him is having me on your podcast.
Oh yeah,
it's a good move.
oh yeah. The gauntlet has been thrown down.
Exactly.
You go Musk, I go Rooney. That's how I do it. You got Elon Musk, I go bang.
That's right. Get me Rooney on the phone right now.
I don't care where he is. Tell him to stop what he's doing and get right on the fucking blower.
So wait, what's the deal? Maybe you know more about this, and I know you also have no patience for like pop fucking whatever. But what's the deal with him? What did he name his kid?
I don't know what he named his kid, but I saw an explanation this morning on it, and it was about X being unknown. Something like AE or whatever the letters were their favorite, i.e., artificial intelligent robot that they have in their house is the initials from that, and then something is from their favorite TV show. So it's not a name; it's a combination of I guess equations. That's what they named their kid. Nothing.
Kid's got no shot.
He does, but I hope he's fucking dumb as rocks.
Wouldn't that be great? Yeah, maybe it skips a generation. You know what I mean? I don't know anything about Elon Musk. All I know is he popped up in the last few years, and he's a billionaire genius. And I didn't even know there was like a Simpsons character like this out there.
Yeah, I saw him on, like, the first time I saw him was in, because I'm a huge Marvel superhero comic book fan, and in Iron Man 2, because Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr., who's Iron Man, is a fucking a genius, like beyond genius. And he's at this bar one time, and he walks up and he's like, "Oh, hey, Elon, how are you?" And it's like, you could tell this guy is shoehorned him. Like, wait, who's that motherfucker? Like, now I got to Google this motherfucker. And then when you Google it, you find out that's where I first found out about him. And then,
wow, Iron Man 2 is a while ago,
even
too.
Then, like, I kind of, not that I kept up with him. Like, I wasn't reading Elon Musk Monthly. You know what I mean? Like, trying to find out what he was up to. But yeah, man, he's a smart motherfucker.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I've never met him in real life. He's supposed to be smart, right? I don't know. Everyone's suspicious of everyone now. I thought we were supposed to like Bill Gates. Now we're not. Now should we trust in Bill Gates? I don't know.
Here's the thing. I tap out of the news.
And also, both of them, Elon Musk and Bill Gates, straight white men. All right? I'm just saying.
What's your problem?
Not to be trusted.
I thought you meant as in, see, everybody, that's gay and not white. See, maybe you're missing out on something. I don't know what direction.
Haven't we been told how to live by straight white men long enough? Now I got to listen to Bill fucking Gates and Elon
Musk. What was the deal with Gates though? Because I know he's in the news a lot lately. But like, what's he there for? What did he do wrong?
I have no idea, man. I just hear I read the headlines and I don't read anything further. I know that people are suspicious about his vaccines and the stuff he's doing in Africa. I thought it was a good thing, but apparently no. It's questionable. Some people say
he was hanging out with I heard he was hanging out with Epstein, and I think anybody that
no,
that was the
was he?
latest thing, that him and Epstein were kind of tight.
Man,
That's
man.
awful, man. If you know somebody
See
now,
that?
like even if you say you knew him once, if you waved at him across the street, or like what happens if Bill Gates was at Starbucks one day? It would never happen. And then all of a sudden, like fucking him and Epstein reached for the milk at the same time or something, and someone's got video footage of it. And like, you see, Bill Gates fuck kids now too. Like it's like that's
Yep.
just the way it is.
And there's a video of Bill Gates being like, "Oh no, you take it. You take the milk. Go ahead, no problem." It's like Bill Gates empathetic to child
Yeah, that's
trafficker.
exactly what it is. Gives him secret milk that gives him rapey powers.
I had a buddy in college. Now, like I went away to college and I went with a friend of mine from high school, but then we made a larger group of friends, you know, of all people you meet in college. And years later, I fell out of touch with the dude, but years later, this guy who was in my pretty close social circle got caught showing off near a elementary school, shall we say, or it might have been elementary, probably junior high or some shit like that, or high school. But like, yeah, doing creepy shit from his car, and I just remember thinking,
in front of the kids.
what's
Oh shit.
yeah, like nasty, horrible shit. And my first reaction was just like, I wonder if there's like pictures of me hanging out with this dude. Do I need to like, I'm doing comedy at this point, so you immediately go into protect. Like I can't have any of this shit.
You're gonna
surface in my
sit
career.
down, man, with those meetings, and you'll be in a boardroom, big glass room, and your manager and agent will be there, and then the network. I know what they're like, and the network will be like, man, we like it, we love you, and all of a sudden some intern pulls up a picture of you with your arm around this guy, just at some fucking house party.
Yeah.
And then there's a picture of him like in court, or his mugshot is there. I'm like, yeah, you know what? We were going to give you a 5-season deal, but apparently you're into this guy.
Yeah. Also, you said tranny in a tweet 12 years ago.
Yeah, man,
and someone brought that up too. You know what I mean? God knows what stuff I've said on social media that could be pulled up. I've never bothered to go back and try to like clean anything because it's probably fucked.
I was going to do that, go back and clean. Like I remember when, like years ago, the royal baby was born, and I think I was more mad about.
Oh, you must have said some awful things.
John Truson, if you don't know him, he's a big fan of comedy. He's helped a lot of more comedians I know than anybody that I personally know, and for him to get involved, he was like, Mick, you got to slow down. Like the stuff I said,
you got to ease up a little bit.
And all it was is my I wasn't attacking the royal baby or the royal family. I was attacking people's reaction to this baby being born. You know what I mean? But
also, there's like hundreds, if not thousands, probably of royal families throughout the world. Why the fuck do we care about this one in particular? You know what I mean?
I don't know what the fucking obsession
why?
is.
You know why? I'll tell you why. Because they're straight white.
But again, wasn't one of them caught with Epstein?
Was? I don't even know, man.
Yeah, Prince Andrew, I think, was hanging on Whore Island with Epstein.
But also, like, he was hanging out on the island specifically.
Sorry, you broke up there. What was that you said?
He was hanging out on the island specifically.
Yeah, hanging out with him, taking plane rides and all of a sudden. But I think what the problem is that, like, he could have said, yeah, I went to Whore Island, but there's no whores and I went there, like, which is possible. Right? It's possible. I've been to Disney World.
Added that attraction.
Yeah, but I've been to Disney World and the Pirates of the Caribbean was shut down. You know what I'm trying to say? So I was still at Disney World, but like he goes there and it's like, but the problem is he denied knowing him. And now all of a sudden the pictures pop up, what we were just talking about. It's like, oh shit. So, that Epstein. Oh
yeah, that one. Well, that's the thing too, though, is that rich people associate with rich people. So there probably are people who are like friendly with Epstein and might have had no idea about this nefarious ongoings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. But it's like comics. How many comics have you passed? Like ships pass. You hang out at a club one night, and you never see them again. And then you're like one of these. You're not one of them, but like you hear certain comics and they'll name drop, and then they'll act like they're friends with whoever they open for that weekend. I'm like, you were just hired to fucking take a bullet for 20 minutes before this guy. So stop acting like you're friends. But it doesn't mean now all of a sudden, like you've opened for Louis before, right? I've opened for Louis. Louis C.K.?
No, I never opened for Louis.
No?
No, I mean I did, but I don't tell people that anymore. No, I'm just kidding. I never did. I never
Yeah,
did,
but I mean,
honestly.
I did, but we never, like, he sat in a green room going over notes. I sat there, hi, how are you? Good.
Yeah.
Shake hands. That was it. Like, I wasn't even the MC, so I didn't even have to get, hey, what do you want me for your credits? I just sat there. He
Oh,
said
that's
hello.
easy then, yeah.
He said goodbye. And like, I don't like go around saying like, yeah, you know, so I'm hanging with Louis the other night. And, but now when all this shit happened, I'm not going to like fucking, you know, people aren't going to, well, you were working with Louis. You must be also just as bad.
Oh yeah, or like did he? I love how people say about Louis too, where it's like looking back on his hours of material, it's all he ever talked about.
Yeah.
How didn't we know? And it's like not at all. What are you fucking talking about? He had as many dick jokes as any other comedian. You know what I
More
mean?
probably.
He had so much material that wasn't had anything to do with sex or anything like that. But whatever.
Yeah.
But did you see his new special?
Yeah, you're gone silent on me there, mate. You still there?
Yeah. Did you see his new special?
What you say?
Did you see his new
I
special?
haven't
Louis?
seen his new special yet, and I don't know why. You know why I'm postponing watching or delaying watching it because I just want fucking 10 minutes to myself. Where it's one of those things you don't want someone talking over your shoulder, or your kids are trying to be homeschooled and they're like, "Dad, how do you spell because?" You know what I mean? And it's like you just.
That's right. I forgot about that. Your quarantine right now is so much different than my quarantine.
Oh yeah, man, it's fucking insane. It's fucking insane.
Is everyone just on top of each other and just ready to kill each other?
Well, you know the funny thing is, I'm in better shape now than I've ever been in my like. Almost, I can almost say that because I'm out now and I run for an hour every day. Like, just get the fuck. Like, I'm finishing this podcast and I'm going to Walmart. Like, that's my night. That's what I'm excited to do. Like, I go to Walmart at least 3 times a week, at least
Really?
just to get something. Like, I'm there tonight. You know what I'm getting? Car mats. I don't even go anywhere. And I'm like, I'm going to get car mats for my car.
Car mats?
Yeah, for my car.
I guess, well, Walmart's probably quieter at night too, right? I was going to say, I was like, don't be putting yourself at higher risk for car mats. But
yeah, no, there's nobody there. I wear my mask. I don't touch any fucker. And I just walk around and, you know,
that place was bad enough before the pandemic.
Yeah, I used to make fun of it. I used to make fun of the people who went there and everything about it. And now I'm just like, I love Walmart. It's the only place I go, man. It's the only place I go now.
I've grown to enjoy shopping, man. I was never much for cooking at home, but I got an air fryer now, and
fancy.
I like to go shopping and I like to cook.
What are you cooking now?
Oh man, well I've only been at it now for like probably 10 days or so, but the first thing I did was just cook up a bunch of chicken, and I was skeptical about the air fryer, but I'll tell you what, man, it keeps meat very, very juicy, very tender. It's easy to cook with. It's solid. And I'm not a cooking guy, but I'm starting to dabble.
You know, my thing now. I'm at it since January. Well, I kind of went off in February when I had to go back to Ireland when my dad died.
Yeah.
But it's like I kind of, you know, you're over there. You can't expect your mother to go, hey, I know you're grieving, widow Thomas, but I'm on a carnivore diet now, and there's no way I'm eating that fucking shit you just put in front of me. I can't eat roast potatoes on a carnivore diet. What's wrong with you? You know, stop crying. Stop crying.
Stop crying. I'm trying to act like that. I'm trying to fill those shoes. Stop fucking crying.
Yeah, but I'm on the carnivore diet, and I love it, man. I love it. It's only anything that it's almost they call it the carnivore diet, but they should call it the fuck you vegan diet because it's the opposite. You only eat what comes out of an animal. Like
there's no vegetables.
No vegetables. No vegetables. What are fruits? But
I've heard of it. Yeah, it's not. It's almost like keto, but it's just meat, pretty much.
Yeah, you can have eggs. You can have cheese.
Meat, cheese, eggs,
bacon, chicken, but I mainly go with steaks. Like I'm eating steaks daily. Like just before I came out to do this, I had like just a massive lump, and it was almost like I was looking. That's why I was saying to you when you were like, "Oh, I'm going to be a little bit late." Take your time. I will just cook up this steak, and like the last few bites, I was kind of mad that I rushed through because I had to come out to do this. I was like, "Fucking goddamn podcast!" Like this steak is too good, you know. But it's yeah, man.
Let me ask you something. How do you take your steak?
I like it medium rare. Like I like blood coming out of it when I cut it.
And did you have that growing up in Ireland, or is that something that you
you found something I researched and learned here? Yeah.
Yes, I grew up eating all my meat well done until one day in my teenage years I had a steak at a friend's house that was cooked like perfect medium rare, And I literally went home that night and I looked at my dad and I was like, "Why have you been overcooking my food for my entire life?"
You ruined my
But like that's what he grew up on, so that's how he likes it still. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like
But
charcoal burnt kind of.
yeah, like pretty much brown all the way through, and then maybe a little blackened on the edges, which is overkill, obviously, as we now know.
Yeah, no, and I love it, and I feel full. But the last few nights, I don't know what it is. Like, I just have been just hungry. Like, I don't know if it's emotional eating or like I was like, fuck me, man. I want to eat. So what I have been doing is like I'll slip a little bit and I'll pop up some popcorn because that'll fill up your stomach. There's no butter on the one I get, and like fuck it, that's a healthy snack. It fills up your stomach, and that's not.
That's a good one. I should get some popcorn.
Yeah. That's. I'm telling you, man. That's the way forward, and just watch. Sit down and watch something. But like, I'm bored at Netflix. Really bored of it. I got Disney Plus, bored of that now too.
Have you watched anything good in quarantine? I've gotten. Dude, did you watch The Gentleman?
Oh, it's my favorite movie of 2020.
What a great fucking film,
I saw
right?
that in Ireland when first time I went over because I knew my dad was real sick. So I said, you know what, let me take a week. Let me go spend some time with him while he can still talk. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't want to go over and talk to the shell of a man. So I went over and then I spent all day in the hospital with him. And then at nighttime, I used to hang out with my brother and my friend Tommy. So we went to see Gentleman one night, the three of us, and it was the fucking best movie I'd seen probably in years. Like, I really enjoyed it from start to finish.
Yeah, and like, what's the director's name?
Guy Ritchie. He does, yeah. Guy Ritchie.
In a way, he's kind of been getting away for years. I feel like with making almost the same movie over and over again. But you know what? I fucking love that movie, and I'll watch it another 6 times. You know what I mean? Like the dialogue is so good, and it's almost like it gets meta. Where what's the Irish actor's name?
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. He says, like, when the boys approach him in the place, he's like, "All right, now say something, make it snappy, make it funny." It's like, this is all. It's great. It's just great.
Yeah, like even that scene where like he even goes racial on it. Well, remember in the boxing gym where he's talking to the guy who's sparring, and the guy from the ring says, "Come on, can we get in here? Hurry up, you black cunt." And he turns to Colin Farrell and he goes, "Are you just going to let him away with that? He called me a black cunt." He goes, "Well, Bernie, you are black and you are a cunt. Therefore, you are a black cunt." Now, however, if he said all black people are cunt, that's racist. But he said, "Now stop being a cunt and get in there." Like, the fucking dialogue was so fast and it was just the best movie I'd seen. And he kind of has his stamp on it. You know what I mean? He puts that type of, I think what sold his movies was always dialogue, And then kind of with Rock and Roller, I think that was the one. He kind of went away from that a little bit. That's my opinion. He got a big budget, he got big boy money, and then he kind of lost it. But then he just redeemed it with this one.
Was that the last one he did? No, he also did what? He did The Man from
but
Uncle,
I'm talking about
right?
like a Tarantino where you write.
But that's like the guy from Uncle. That was almost like, I know it was a Guy Ritchie film, but it wasn't like a Guy Ritchie original.
Same with Mean Machine. Opinion, he did the British version of Mean Machine with Vinnie Jones, who it's so good. Good? Mean Machine's about, like, it's about the original Burt Reynolds one, and then they made an Adam Sandler version. But Guy Ritchie made his own version, set in a British with the same actors from like the original.
Wait a minute. Mean Machine? Is this not? Is this a prison movie?
He said, but Guy Ritchie did his own version of it.
Okay, what was the American one?
The original,
the
longest yard, or something like that, or the whole, the
longest yard. Okay,
then they did a remake with Adam Sandler, which was actually decent, and then
it wasn't bad. Chris Rock was in it,
and then Guy Ritchie did his version, but it's not. He didn't write it from start to finish. He just put his name on it, But yeah, it wasn't Rock and Roll, like he's only got a handful of movies like Tarantino does, where he wrote, direct, produced, like it's just his baby from start to finish.
And
no, they're
married to Madonna.
They're done. Yeah, good for him. But like, speaking of movies, let me just segue. You have a podcast, which is.
I thought you were going to say, speaking of Madonna, because I also have a podcast about Madonna.
You broke up there, but you repeat that part again. You have a podcast, what?
Oh no, the joke's
It's
not
not
going to
going to
work
work.
now.
And, the rebuttal there kind of also didn't come through properly. You went, you got that robot voice.
I said, I thought you were going to say, and speaking of Madonna, because I also have a podcast about Madonna now, but the joke
Madonna podcast. What would you call it? Material Girl?
the Madonna
That's a
podcast
good
with
name
Dennis
for it.
Rooney. Yeah,
Material Boy.
Material
Shit,
Boy.
nailed it. Done. Your
There
podcast,
you go.
Netflix Book Club. Before everybody was
Netflix
doing
Book Club.
podcasts, like, I mean, everyone's doing it, but I mean, you had this, and it was believe it or not, it was an original idea. It's called. You even had like, did you get contacted by them at all to say, hey, listen, you're using our name, our logo, anything like that?
No. One of the guys who was in it originally,
Yeah,
Casey
yeah.
Aurora, I'm funny comedian. He actually got very worried that we were gonna get like sued by Netflix, which I kept saying. I was like, that would be the
Oh
best
yeah.
thing for our podcast if we get sued by Netflix. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that was a worry, and we thought about changing the name for a short while to the Flix Book Club, which is such a worse name. But no, we're Netflix Book Club. We're out there. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts. We're a little sporadic, but we're coming back. We're always dropping new
Yeah,
episodes
but
here
man,
and
it's
there.
such a great idea though. Like but don't you have the technology to kind of get back at, especially now that everybody's fucking watching Netflix?
Yeah, I do now. I actually got to get in touch with my partner now because this is the first time in a long time where we've both had such a free amount of time on our hands, and we might have to do something like this with Anchor, because normally we just obviously we record live, but this seems like it works pretty well. So maybe we'll do that. And exactly, everyone's watching Netflix, everyone's listening to podcasts, everyone is craving content. We really should light a fucking
Yeah,
fire
man,
under our
it's
asses
a
and
great
start
time, and I
recording.
like that you have guests on, and you give the guests homework to do, and then I like how, like it, because it just goes off on a tangent. You don't necessarily stay on that movie or that show or whatever it is. Like I remember you got me set up for it, and I just don't know why we didn't end up doing the show, but you made me watch the Babadook. Um,
I still feel bad
which is a
about that.
fuck. Like I was watching, like this is fucking insane because I hate kids. Like, and
Yeah.
I hate loud whining kids. And this kid's got in the Babadook's got, I guess, he's got a learning disability or a mental health problem. And
Yep.
it's just him whining the whole way through and screaming, and the mother having a nervous breakdown. And even before you got to the Babadook, which is the monster or the ghost or whatever in it, I was like, fuck me, I'm having a panic attack. And I just have to get on this show and talk about it. And I was like, nope, never happened. It was like
What if that actually was our podcast though, where like me and Steven then talk about who we tricked into watching a movie that they'll need to be on a podcast for. Dude, if that freaks you out, I got a movie for you, dude. I just watched this movie Vivarium, which was actually an Irish film, or it was filmed in Ireland anyway. The main chick is Irish, but the main dude is Jesse
okay.
Eisenberg, and it's kind of this heady metaphorical movie about like the trap of suburbia and like family life. But basically they go to this neighborhood to get shown a house. All the houses look the same. They get left in the house and now they can't get out of the neighborhood. Like no matter how hard they try, they can't get out. And eventually a baby is dropped at their door, but it's no regular baby. They're like, there's a little message that says, raise the child and we'll set you free. And this kid just makes this horrible, like almost radio noise when it
Oh,
needs to be fed,
fucking
super
hell.
loud. It gave me such anxiety because like the movie would be chill and then you just hear like ah! And you'd be like fuck the
Yeah,
baby.
man. When I watch, you
And
ask anybody who watches a movie with me or a TV show, like when I kind of wanted to tap out of The Walking Dead is when Rick and his wife had that baby. I'm a drown, fucking drown. Like, it's just the babies ruin everything in every movie. It's just, you know what I mean? They use them to indicate a dramatic scene. Like you'll see a husband and wife fight. Like any movie, like you pick any movie where the husband and wife are having a dramatic fight, like fucking Goodfellas. What was that one with?
cut to
It's
the
just
baby
the mother
crying.
bouncing the baby up and down, like, and he's like trying to explain,
Yeah.
Karen, I'm trying to do this, like fucking leave. Like it's fucking. I remember when my son was like that when he was a baby. So what I would do is I would put on headphones.
Was he
He was an
colicky?
asshole, whatever the fuck he was. Like it's just unnecessary, like a fucking asshole of a baby. And I remember just like
Yeah.
putting headphones on, big like big headphones. Not this before Beats were a thing. Like were very popular. There were Skull Candy? I think is what I had. Yeah,
Yes,
the
I know the one you're
noise
talking about.
cancelling headphones. And this before they looked cool, right? Remember, like an NBA players start wearing them, and they're like, oh, that's cool now. But I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
them, and I would just put on fucking AC/DC and walk around my house, and it looked like my son was singing. Like, I was like, all right, like Back in Black. I'm like, fuck you. It's just
The baby's doing the fucking walk with the guitar across, trying to get your
the
attention.
Angus Young.
He's got the Angus Young hat on.
It's torture, mate. Like it's just like it just whenever I see one on a TV show or a movie, it's just banana cakes.
My brother Brian, he's 3 of 4. I'm 2 of 4. He's 3 of 4. Apparently, I don't remember this because I was like 2 years old when he was born, but he had awful colic to the point where my dad and my aunt were like, we have to take this baby to the hospital. Like something is wrong. This baby's been crying for days. And my mom, this is her 3rd child. She's like, I kind of knew. I was like, no, this kid's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They go to the hospital. They run all the tests. That's what the doctor came back. The doctor came back was just like, your kid's just, a pain in the ass. He's just upset, and he's no reason to be upset, but he will eventually stop. And eventually, he did stop.
Do you know what's weird though too? Like what I used to always have a theory because babies don't have the cognitive. What's the word I'm trying to say? Cognitive skills. Thank you. It's like I remember my daughter was crying one day as a baby. Now, as a baby, not a toddler. Like, and I remember just reaching up and scratching her nose, and she stopped. Like, because I think sometimes what if babies just can't reach a certain itch?
Yeah. What if they haven't processed yet that like I need to move my hand and scratch myself.
My finger. Like I don't know how to get a perfect straight line from my finger to my nose, like or under my chin or like I have an itchy back. Like, and nobody just scratches a baby. Like,
did you have a fatherly connection where you were like, I think it's the nose? Because you could have scratched anywhere.
No, but I remember it though. I remember clearly going like, what if this kid just has an itchy nose and can't get there? Because I remember even when I was fighting, right, and you'd be sparring whatever with guys, and you would be tied up with your gloves, and you would have an itchy nose, and you're like, and you're trying to fucking scratch. You can't scratch it with the leather of the glove; it just isn't getting the spot right. And I remember and my coach going, Mick, what the fuck you doing? I'm like, I have an itchy nose. And he goes, you fucking, and I remember I went over to the corner. This is only sparring, so it wasn't a real fight. And he goes, you fucking asshole. And he scratched my nose. I'm like, thanks, Frankie. And I went back out to fucking sparring again. So I always.
That was edited out of the final fight in Rocky. He's like, what's wrong, Rock? He's like,
yeah.
The back of my ears. I just can't get through it.
Bum, Rock. What's the matter with you? Yo, I got itchy nose, like,
my nose, I can't scratch it.
So I always thought, like, what if, like, that was just it? With, like, a lot of you put the...
Wait. One more. Hold on, one more. At the end, he's calling for Adrian because she's got the good nails, It's like, Adrian. I don't know if that was worth it, but we did it.
But yeah, man, it's like if you put a diaper on a baby or a nappy, as we call them in Ireland, like sometimes like I will look down and what if like the rim of the nappy or the diaper is twisted on the inside, and now it's like like your pants might get kind of, and you can't.
That would bother me. Why wouldn't it bother a baby?
And the only baby can't go like, hey, fix this. Like the only thing a baby can do is wah. That's all a baby can do. I'm like, have we tried scratching? Have we tried like maybe shake the baby? Like I know we're not supposed to, but maybe fucking shake him.
Just a gentle shake, or like shake his arms or something. You know what I mean? Maybe he's got a little stretch. He's got to stretch it out.
Yeah, maybe fucking like I don't know, man. It's just I always think about weird shit like that, and like what if, like I remember in The Simpsons. Do you remember that like way back in the first, like one of the first early episodes? So you're going back 30 years or so, where Homer's brother, played by Danny DeVito, came in and he invented this machine that he could tell what a baby wanted by the pitch of its voice.
Yes, and then Homer made that super advanced car that didn't work.
Yeah. That was a follow-up episode, but like I thought, like that's a fucking perfect invention. It's a perfect invention.
The baby thing, yeah.
You figure out what your kid is doing.
Next time I see a crying baby in public, I'm just gonna walk over and just start scratching its face. Like, is this it? Is this it?
Can you imagine? It's all right. It's okay. This is a theory.
Sometimes babies need to be scratched.
Oh, can you imagine explaining that in court? You would get shot.
I mean, it's so stupid it might be acceptable. Because what if you scratch the baby on the top while avoiding its soft spot? If you just like, the same way you would scratch the top of a dog's head, you did that to a baby. They're probably like that.
The soft spot was a secret button that nobody knew about.
Oh man, I remember finding out. My youngest brother was born when I was 10, so like I kind of have experience with like babies and infants. And when they explain to you that like there's a big hole in the center of your kid's head, how
Yeah,
you're just
nobody
like,
explains that.
why doesn't the baby stay in for another month or two until the
Yeah,
fucking head's finished? When's this baby coming out? You want to hear an awful dead baby joke? Is that too far?
go for it.
Um,
I hope you don't. But before you do, I just hope you don't cut out. That would suck. That if you,
that would be
it
very
would
bad.
suck. But let's go for it anyway.
You know what the soft spot on a baby's head is for?
No.
So you could pick them up 5 at a time. See, that joke is only for
That's a
people like
nice
you. You're
joke.
sick.
That's a
You're
nice
sick.
joke.
That's a nice joke.
It's a
You
nice
can put that
joke.
on PBS.
It's clean. It goes right to the point.
Yes. How many babies does it take? No, I'm not doing this. Never mind.
Just go all
I'm not
out.
walking down this road. I shouldn't have even said that one.
Are you missing comedy, man? Like how you dealing with the loss of getting on stage and not only performing but creating on the spot, because you were always one of those guys, and probably one of the only guys I could name, maybe 3 or 4, that go up on stage and deliberately, and it is in my opinion, it is deliberate on you, like immediately open up by aggravating the audience. Like I don't know if it's deliberate, but you go like, and immediately like they hate you, and then you're like, all right, and then watch me, and it just takes so much to dig out, but you do it so it's you're only one of the few guys that I will pop my head into the room and watch. One of the few.
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you. That means a lot. And that might sound to some people like not a glowing review, but I take it as a glowing review. And yeah, I might have had a tendency. I always say I like to push them away and then pull them back in. But
Right.
every once in a while, it's like I'm in space and I push them away and they just keep floating away and away. And away. You've seen those sets of mine too. I don't always win them back, but I think I have a pretty good track record. How am I coping? I'll say this. You know that saying comedians kind of have where it's like you're only as good as your last set.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that my last set was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't a killer, but it was solid. And I know that there's plenty of comics out there whose last set was probably a fucking bomb, and they got to live with that for God knows how long. How was your last set?
Technically my last set was fun, but shit, because my last set was officially was at the comic strip, and it was, I think, a Saturday night or Sunday night, sold out, and it was just an electric. I had a great time, just an electric crowd. And then comedian Mike Calcagno asked me to do this thing for him on a Monday night, which is the night after or 2 nights after, someplace in Farmingdale, Long Island. And I went there, and the audience was 6 of his family members. And I remember John Ziegler been there, Mike Calcagno, and I think Matt Oliveira, is that his name?
Yeah, Matt Arvalo.
Alvaro, sorry, nice kid. And I just remember, like, I just had a lot of fun because I just tried out a bunch of shit, and we all laughed at each other, type of thing. So either way, my last set, whichever you want to look at it, I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself, you know?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Where was yours?
Mine was actually a road gig down in, I think I want to say Silver Birches, PA. It was a Soul Joel gig, good gig.
Okay.
And one of the memorable things about it, I like this, is it was a gig where, all right, so I'm driving down with Chris Roach, very funny comedian, you know.
Right. Good lad.
I'm driving down with him, and we're having this moment where it's like, even earlier in the day, we were like kind of waiting for the call to get the gig canceled, because my gig the night before had been canceled, you know.
Right.
And we're waiting, but the call doesn't come. We're like, all right, we're doing it. And we're driving down, and we're getting a little existential. We're like, are we idiots? Like, should we be doing this? But this is so early on, you know, it's like things weren't locking down totally yet.
Yeah.
And we get there, but Chris Roach has brought like some cleaning supplies. He brought some finger condoms, which I thought was hilarious at the time. Now I think it's very practical.
He's a walking prop.
I know, right? But he's got these disinfectant wipes, and he says, The host can take one and clean it off before he starts. I'll go up and clean it off before I take. So I had this thought, of course, me. I had to do this. I thought of it, and therefore I had to do it. But the host was, I hope I get this right, Alan Masberg. I had never met him before. Philly comic, young black dude, very nice, very funny. But he goes up and he does his set and he does well. I go up and I don't say anything. I just start wiping down the mic stand and the mic, and that's already getting laughs.
Right.
I finish wiping it down and I go, "Thanks for bearing with me. I'm not worried about the virus. I'm just extremely racist."
I'm gonna say you broke up there. You said you're not worried about the
God
virus.
damn it! I keep breaking up on the punchlines.
You said I'm not worried about the virus.
I'm just extremely racist.
All right, I didn't hear you there either. So can I fill it in? I'm just
Are you fucking with me? Are you fucking
no,
with
I swear to God, I would never do that, buddy. Not on my show.
I said, I'm sorry that I'm getting a bad connection. Let me go into the other room. I'm usually pretty good, but
that might be get out of the fucking basement.
No, I mean I live in the basement, so there's no getting out of the basement. But I'll go into a different room.
Can I guess the punchline since I didn't hear it?
Go ahead.
Or do you want to just do it?
No,
do it first. Do it, and I'll tell you if I guessed it right.
I said I'm not worried about the virus. I'm just extremely racist.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes. And it's one of those.
Shit.
It's one of those jokes where you go, I got to do like 30 minutes, right? And this could dig that hole that I'm like to dig. But if they go with it, I know the rest of my set will be solid because I know that they're up for it, and I know that they trust me. And also, like, I brushed it off immediately as a joke. You know, you kind of address it then and then you move on. But it was a fun last show. I miss comedy, man.
Yeah, you know what, though? Just a quick story going back. I will not mention the guy's name, but the guy is like world famous that I opened for at a huge theater. And I went out. He had another opener before me, and then he had 3 openers.
Was
right?
it Bill Cosby?
No, I can't say that. I can't say the name. But he had 3 openers. I'll tell you off air. He had 3 openers, right? And he realized like this show, I can't do this show. So he let one of the guys go. So some guy went up before me and he was fucking awful. And then I went up, man, and I was just like, you give me 20 minutes, I'll turn into a machine gun for 20 minutes. And just like, I had a great 20-minute set. And then I brought up this guy and he came up and this is like way before, this is about a year before this is about 2017, I think. This is obviously before the corona. And he took out a thing out of his pocket of Purell and he poured it all over the microphone. And he goes, I don't know where this fucking English guy has been, right? Call me English, right? Silence.
Disrespect.
Dude, he bombed from start to finish. And this guy, they came to see this guy. It came to the point where he was on a hit sitcom, right? A hit sitcom that he got that desperate that some people from the TV show were there and he brought them out on stage with him to go, huh? This guy's here, huh? Oh, and it was like nothing. But my point is like to insult the opener, it can either go either way, right? Unless you do it right, and you did it right, because nobody's going to fucking think. Nobody is that openly racist in comedy that I know of. I mean, right? It could be just like, I'm racist, but I'm hiding with a joke. Or wouldn't it be funny if I wore a swastika t-shirt?
Plus, obviously, it's because of the fucking virus. Like it was right when things were getting really bad. Starting to get really bad. So it was on everyone's mind. Everyone in the room had the same look where it's like, should we be here? You know? So it was my way of addressing it, but also being like, I might say some stuff that you got to go with me on.
Yeah, man, it's uncomfortable for all of us, so let's just go with it.
I can't wait to hear who this comic was off air.
I'll tell you. Remind me though. Have you been writing too, or also what are you writing coronavirus jokes? You're trying to stay away from it?
I got to be honest with you, man. My whole life has gone into limbo. I haven't really been writing. I'm always one of those guys where like I can take one line and then I got to take it to the stage and kind of work it out in front of people. Like I know it's kind of corny to say that I write on stage, but I do. Like most of my stuff comes out in the moment, and it's a lot of bullshit to get to those lines that stick around. But for me to sit down and write is very hard. And I've just been trying to make sure, honestly, my mental health is okay because I could spiral quick. I know myself in the way. and I'm just trying to make sure I get some exercise in every day.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy my drugs and alcohol. I'm trying to take it a little easy
Yep.
on that and hydrate. A lot of people, it's the one thing I've always been good at. I always drink a lot of water, but it's easy to forget when you don't leave your house to be drinking water throughout the day. So drink your fucking water, people.
Yeah, you gotta just. I have it right by me. Like I've always got, even right now, I just have a fucking large thing of water.
Yep.
But the thing, like going back to you saying, man, you're not like that's exactly what I do. I write on stage. I have my premises. I know the punchline.
I've seen
Let
you
me
do it.
try fill it
Absolutely.
in.
Yeah. You might have one good line where, I'll save that for the end for a wrap up, but let me try to find my way there.
Yeah, you kind of you write, and I think when you write on stage, because I was talking to, again, I'm not, this guy is a famous guy, so I'm not going to mention his name because it sounds like I'm name dropping, but he was talking to me. He's like, man, I wrote all this stuff today, and like I spent hours writing it, and that kind of, so we were at the comic strip, we were sitting at the booth, and we were talking, and this guy, like, I know more of a movie star than a comedian, but like he's very entertaining on stage, and I know you've worked with him before, but he asked me my style. I was like, well, I write on stage. He's like, yeah, but why? It was, well, either way, you're going to try it out in front of a crowd, right? Like if you write it down, what, you're going to say it anyway. So if it bombs, it bombs. And even if I make it up on the spot, it's going to bomb or it's not going to bomb. So you're going to have the same result regardless.
I think it works. Yeah, it works differently for different people. I think obviously some people have great results with sitting down and being on a strict writing regimen. One thing I'll always remember, which again, when you start talking to your friends now, you start holding yourself accountable. Like I'm like, I gotta start. I feel like I gotta start writing now. I said somebody earlier where I was like, I gotta get on top of that. The podcast, I gotta get back on the podcast. But basically, I always think of this is Ari Shaffir said one time on some sort of podcast or something. He said most comics don't write at all. So if you just did 10, 15 minutes a day, that puts you kind of like leaps and bounds ahead of people. Or at least if you do 10, 15 minutes at the beginning of your day, subconsciously those thoughts are rolling around your head then for the rest of the day. So you're kind of writing throughout the day. But no, I just wake up and I make sure that I put a banana in my cereal. That's the most of the work I'm doing.
That's your start.
That's me, like, I'm taking care of myself. I'm doing the right thing.
Well, you know what's weird? Because like I started now this week writing out my set, 2 jokes a night.
Yeah.
Because I spoke to the comic strip. On the phone this week, and I want to record a special there and then try sell it somewhere. So I've started to write out. So when we come out of quarantine, I'm going to start working on, sharpen up the hour. But I start writing out 2 jokes a night. And what I found is like, wow, there's a lot of fucking fat in this. Like if I say this and if I explain it a little bit different, like, so and now what's happening is like the last few days, I've come up with 3 nice premises for jokes that are not coronavirus related.
Yeah, that's good.
So which I'm kind of happy with. So it's I'm okay. Like I miss it horrifically, but I'm okay, and I don't feel lazy with what I'm doing. You know?
Yeah, I've managed to not feel lazy because again, I'm just giving myself simple things to do. Like I'm on a bit of a schedule most days. Also, my dad just started ripping up the deck on the outside of his house and building a new one. So I've been over there a few times a week.
I thought your dad's going to say, my dad started a podcast.
My dad's doing a podcast. It's HBO Go Book Club. I feel like it's a little threatening to mine. But, whatever. He's the old man. You got to let him have it. Yeah, I don't know. I also, what's been happening to me is like, I'll be walking around my apartment and I'll see something that triggers an old bit in my head. Like I haven't gone through my act in so long that all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it's like hearing a song that you haven't heard in a while and being like, oh yeah, I still remember all the lyrics.
Yeah, and that the reason I jumped in about this. I'm sorry if I cut you off because you kind of cut it a little bit. But I was worried about forgetting my jokes, like just forgetting them, because I don't have them written down anywhere. Like I may have them recorded on a set audio wise, because I record all my sets and listen back to it. But I was like, fuck me. Like if I forget these, like, am I starting again from scratch?
Yeah. Plus you forget, even when you're doing stand-up, you might have that one line that you do one night and you're like, oh, I got to remember to do that in that bit. And if you don't kind of like reinforce it in your head, you'll lose it.
Yeah, you will.
So it's definitely, you don't want to lose minutes over quarantine. It's one thing to come out with like not a surplus of material, but you don't want to come out at a loss.
Yeah, man. That's like, and I have all these apps now where I just immediately talk to my phone. And even if it's a premise idea, it'll just be, now it's documented. So Even if I might go back to it 6 months, I go, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Like, but still, at least I did my piece to jot it down, and hopefully it'll spark something.
Yeah,
You know?
I actually have some friends that I've had, like video chat hangouts with, who I'll just annoy them, and I'll just start going through the notes on my phone, and be like, what did I write down this week? If I do have a couple things, and just, it goes nowhere, but it's still nice to see a reaction on someone's face to one of my dumb thoughts.
Yeah, man, that's what it's about, though. It's we just put it out there and just see. Not one of those put it out into the universe. Just fucking put it out.
I got
and
my
just
vision
see,
board
what
up,
comes
baby.
back. Oh no, do you really?
No, I don't have one of those.
Jesus Christ. I know 2 or 3 comics, and you know them too. They're not famous, so I'm not even going to mention their name because it sounds like I'm taking a dig at them. But they have vision boards. And I'm like, really, motherfucker? How about working? How about put the work in? Don't just go, vision board is done. Yeah, how many times you get up on stage? Twice a week. Yeah, asshole. Like, and like, there's a picture of like a sold out Wembley Stadium.
Well, Jim Carrey wrote himself a check for $10,000 or some shit, and then like 6 months later he had it. But imagine all the people who wrote a check.
Yeah, but he also worked his arse off.
That too. But also imagine all the people who wrote a rent check and that check bounced because they were pursuing a career in the arts.
Yeah, fucking idiots.
I'm just trying to get by. Just try not to spiral,
Well, man, you can always reach out to me. You can always, if you ever want to do another episode of this.
This is why I'm spiraling. Being on your podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, because you get like I've hit rock bottom now. I'm doing cheaper than therapy.
Yeah, I haven't been introspective in weeks, and now I can't stand the sight of my face in the mirror.
Just bad judgment calls. All right, man, I'm going to end it there. So tell everybody where they can find you, your social media, and please promote your podcast.
So Dennis Rooney, stand-up comedian extraordinaire. Follow me on Instagram at Dennis Rooney 7. Friend me on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter at Dennis Rooney 7. But the biggest thing is go check out my podcast, Netflix Book Club. We have almost 100 episodes out. Every week we watch a movie that's streaming on Netflix, and then we get together and we talk about it. And that's that.
It's a funny podcast, guys. So check it out. Rooney, thanks for coming on, mate. You're definitely one of the funniest people I know. And I hope to get to see you on stage soon.
I'm going to get you back on. I'm going to get you back on the podcast, and I really shouldn't say back on because I fucked it up the first time. But I will get you on the podcast. And I appreciate you having me on, man. It was a lot of fun.
All right, man. Thanks so much. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Any questions, comments, concerns? I did get a lot of them this week. Some people weren't happy, but I'll address them on another episode.
All right, I'm sorry. I just had
to. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Any comments, concerns? Send them to my Instagram page. Send them on my email in there, Mick Thomas Comedy. And I appreciate you. Make sure you're safe, you're healthy, and wash yourselves, you dirty fuckers. Thanks so much. Good luck to you now. Good luck to you.